$1 million. He's going to y'all can write the check for you.
I would like to call this public hearing to order for the purpose of receiving citizens' comments on the county's advertised real estate tax of 89 cents per 100 of assessed value. The Board of Supervisors voted to advertise the current real estate tax rate for FY 2014-2015. Therefore, no increase to the real estate tax rate will be considered this year. In order for the board to consider a higher rate for real estate, we would be required to re-advertise and hold another public hearing. A second public hearing will be held at 7:30 p.m. or at the close of this hearing with regard to the advertised FY 14-15 budget. I will call the name of the speaker and the next speaker on the list who should come forward and be prepared to speak. Please come to the podium, state your name and address using the microphone. You have a total of 5 minutes. Please direct your comments to the chair and the members of the board, not to the audience or staff. This is our time to listen to you. We will not be answering questions during these hearings. We ask the audience to refrain from clapping or commenting between speakers so that we may hear clearly the next speaker. Please leave any written statements with the clerk. If you plan to speak and have not signed in at the table in the lobby, please do so at this time. Now we will call our speakers as they've signed in. We only have one, and that's Mr. Charles Bowles.
I came here tonight to hope you keep the taxes low because of the elderly in this county. The elderly in this county are having a hard time making it, and I hope you realize that. And as far as the last meeting you had here, you had so much going on, I didn't really get to speak about what I wanted to speak about. And that is, Reiner is getting the short end of the stick. We had all these meetings, I talked to Mr. Meadows about it. We had all these meetings 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago about sidewalks and bike paths and all this stuff. We've got none of that. We need some of that stuff to implement because the fact that, you know, a new school's been put in out there. They went out there and took 6 feet of people's right of way on the road on the left side, and they put straw down. Now, why couldn't they have spent a little more money and put a sidewalk in so kids could walk to school? It doesn't really make sense to me that we don't have any sidewalks. Now, out where Mr. King lives, there's a sidewalk that was put in 1937. It's about 2 inches thick. And I was standing on it about 2 months ago, and it just broke in half. So all this time that we talk about spending money on schools, let's think about the taxpayer and get them a little something for their money. Because everybody doesn't have a child in school. And every child in school doesn't pay taxes. So we have people that are paying taxes to help you build schools, courthouses, and 911 centers, but yet in Reiner, we're getting nothing. I don't understand it. No one out there understands it. There's 100 people behind me that don't want to come to these meetings. And I talked to them. I just talked to 4 people. And they said, well, we're not going to meetings anymore. We're sick of it. I said, well, you know, if you don't go, nobody's going to listen to you. I didn't come here for 2 years. And it was probably the best 2 years of my life. Because I did not get upset about things. But now, I just feel like somebody's got to speak. And we've got to get some improvements. And this village plan, as Mr. Meadows told me, is still implemented. But I talked to a planning commission woman the other day, and she told me that they're going to do it piecemeal in as people put new business stuff in. There's no new businesses coming to Reiner. We're not going to get any new businesses. We're not Blacksburg. So think about having those meetings again. I sat through them and sat through them and sat through them. I came to every one. And now, we don't have any meetings anymore about Reiner. Friends of Reiner, that went under because of one woman just kept coming here and telling you guys, you know, my name's so-and-so, I represent the Friends of Reiner. Well, that wasn't true. I don't represent the Friends of Reiner. I represent Charlie Bowles from Reiner, Virginia. And I'm telling you, if you guys need to take some of that money and do something with it for the public, not just the schools, not just the sheriff's department, and I'd like to see it done sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have any kind of agenda in here for tonight.
We have no other members signed up to speak, but if it's anyone that would like to speak at this time, please do it at this time. Just come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
You raising taxes on when we get somewhere?
Sir, if you want to speak, you need to come to the podium to speak and state your name.
Close it at this time, or do we keep it open to 7:30?
Have to ask our attorney, can we close it at this time, or do we keep it open to? Okay. Seeing no other citizens coming forward, we will close the public hearing on the advertised tax rate at this time. A second public hearing, budget hearing for FY 2014-2015. At this time, I will call the second public hearing to order for the purpose of receiving citizens' comments on the county's advertised budget for fiscal year 2014-2015. Rules for the first public hearing will apply to this hearing also. I will call the name of a speaker and the next speaker on the list who should come forward and be prepared to speak. Come to the podium and state your name and address using the microphone. You have a total of 5 minutes. We have no one signed up to speak on the budget hearing, but if it's anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time, please come forward and state your name and address. Seeing no one coming forward, this public hearing on the budget is now closed.
Wow.
No other business.
There's no other business, and we are adjourned.
Very good.